Right, I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is our weekly Friday Facebook Live. And this week I am joined by none other than Liz Farley. And I've just realised I didn't put your full name on the thing, but never mind.
I think this is my fault.
No, I think I had an option anyway. Never mind. We'll just. Oh look, I think I can edit it. I don't think anyone's watching just yet, so I'll. Whilst we're waiting, I'll edit your name, and there you are.
Okay.
You are now. You now have a surname.
I like being like Madonna. Just one name's fine.
Although actually, is that your surname, or isn't it Eggleston? Isn't it?
No, I still go by Farley.
Oh, do you? Okay, all right.
No one can ever spell Eggleston. It's easier to do business with a simple name. Yeah, I bet you get that.
That's
People always
true.
asking how to spell your name.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. Okay, so I think we've got at least one person viewing, so thank you very much. Do write in the comments if you've got any questions, or just say hello so we know you're watching. Yes, I was just saying this is our weekly Friday Facebook Live, and this week we're with Liz, and I'm going to ask her about her entrepreneurial journey. I've known Liz for quite a few years, so know her well, but it's been I've been able to kind of see it from the outside, so it's really lovely to hear a bit more about kind of how you've got to where you are now, like a potted history from how you sort of got into the world of entrepreneurship. So tell us more about
that. So I left university and was desperate to go into teaching, and I thought that would be a wonderful way to change the world. And I remember my parents, well, mainly my dad, trying to veer me away from teaching quite strongly. So I ended up in PR, marketing and events in London when I lived with the lovely Catherine. So I worked there and hated it, actually. I think I loved London, but just didn't really dig the PR shenanigans. And then went into teaching and started teaching in London, and then carried on my teaching career for a long time. Loved teaching, loved working with kids, hated the education system, hated the politics of education at large and the politics within a school. Worked in both public and private sector, and just drove me to insanity. So but what I did do within teaching was start organising huge events. I'd be taking whole year groups out, 250 kids, organising trips, and realised that the organising of all these logistics and getting a lot of people from A to B and having a good time was something I quite enjoyed and was quite good at. So I went back a bit to my PR roots, where we did events and sort of mangled the two together and went into events. So now I have my own business called Gather, and we have a shop where we sell beautiful and tasteful party items, and we also do event organising and planning on all sorts of scales. So I think lots of people who just want a small gathering of sort of 20 to 40 people in their garden, we can help with that. And also if we're doing something bigger, you've got a wedding or a corporate event, then we do that. And the idea is people can come to us without having to trawl through the internet for hours looking for the right people.
And why did you call it Gather?
I love the word gather. Gather is an old English word, and it's from our Germanic history, but it means lots of things. So it means drawing things together and not necessarily people, and I think that really represents us, drawing ideas together, drawing products together, drawing expertise together, drawing skills together, so bringing all that together, and then ultimately, of course, bringing people together. And I like the idea of it being a sort of instructive verb. You're telling people, gather, come on, get together. Which at this time,
which is quite ironic right now.
Yeah.
But it's nice to sell the dream of us gathering once more.
Well, it's funny because I've changed our little Facebook icon to when we went to lockdown. I put "please don't gather," and then now I've just put bit.
Oh, well, that's brilliant.
We're playing with it.
And so take me back to the beginning of your when you sort of left teaching and started your business. I mean, how did you do it? Was it must have been a bit kind of scary taking that leap from like a stable, teaching career into
teaching is the most solid, stable career you'll ever have. It's a good wage and a good pension and good holidays, despite all the stresses and politics that irritated me. It's a good job to give up. And in our household, I'm the main breadwinner. So if I stop earning money, there is no money. So that kept me in teaching a long time, because I had to earn the money. And then I made sure that I actually came to the realization that because I teach, it means that I've kind of always got a job to go back to. So bizarrely, that's what made me leave, because it meant I knew I had something safe to come back to. So that was kind of my safety net. But yeah, so just took the leap and had to do it.
And like in terms of that, how did you make that transition? Did you have some investment, or did you borrow some money, or like how did you do it financially?
No investment. Just everyone says don't do it, but everyone does it. I borrowed money on credit cards.
Okay, cool. But yeah, there's good investment and bad investment, though, isn't there? It's not like you were buying pretty frocks.
Well, apply for the like Virgin Startup loans and things, and you've got all these spreadsheets to fill in, and it's like, what's your first year's projections? And I was just looking at them thinking, this is just pie in the sky. If anyone does lend me money, it's going to be built on me just putting random numbers in. And I felt really disingenuous saying, first. And I feel that when I watch Dragon's Den now, people are going, I'm going to earn $1.5 million turnover. And you're like, no, you're not. So I just felt a bit weird. So I thought, well, start small and I'll just borrow as much as I can. And I'm a bit of a credit card horse, so I chunt it around. I'm quite smart about it. So I get on my 0%. And so sort of borrowed a bit, got going a little bit more. And it hasn't stretched. Now I'm just knocking that down, paying it off every month.
Great. And I'd really love to know, actually, people that are watching, what your thoughts are on borrowing money to start your business, and whether you've done it, and how you started. And then I think, because to come up with the idea and the concept, and like what was your kind of process with that? Because I know you did an accelerator program, didn't you?
I did. Well, the idea had been bubbling for ages. And again, like I said, I was scared of leaving the financial security of teaching. And then, so the idea, it was more the brand, the feeling of the brand. I wanted something warm and helpful. That sounds a bit weird for an events and party company, but there's lots of really sort of chintzy, plasticky party things out there. And what I didn't mention is that when I was teaching, and in that transition, in the summer holidays, I did wedding planning to sort of get me into it. And I often worked with brides who'd got things off the internet and would sort of present them to me and go, can we put these up somewhere? I got them off the internet. They're not really what I wanted. And I just came up again and again with people who had grand ideas, looked through Instagram, and things weren't really what they wanted. So I wanted to have a sort of stamp of quality that people know they can come to me and know that everything in the shop and everything that's on the website that I'm building frantically is good, that it's not going to be dishonest. It's not photographed in a way that leads you to believe something else. It's not something that looks nice and is going to turn out really plasticky and flimsy. That what you get from us is good quality stuff, and that behind everything we do are ethics. So it doesn't all just come from factories in China. There's we use lots of small businesses, small designers, lots of British-based businesses. One of my favourites is a company called East of India, which is from Folkestone. Cool. And they do beautiful things, and they work with makers out in India, and they look after those makers and they make sure they all have a good, genuine living. Everything's packaged in paper and cardboard. And so, yeah, if you come and buy stuff from us, the bit that leads to that, where it's made, how it's transported, how it gets to you, is all honest.
Fantastic. You beat me to it, because I was going to ask you that question as well. And I know, like, you'd recently connected with Maddie, who's in our group, who started doing some lovely products. So that's a nice example of people being ethical about where they get their products, and it's that sort of chain of, I suppose, of supporting each other to support those kind of makers and make sure that people are being looked after well.
Love it. It was when I started, people said, well, are you just going to have a website? And I was like, no, I'm going to have a shop, because I wanted to see people face to face, because people buy from people. And they say it again and again, but it's absolutely key. You buy from people, and building up those relationships. And when people buy things from me and they bring a card up to me, I was like, oh, that's made by Jules. She lives in Leeds. Or this is made by Jonathan, and the little cat on here, that's based on his cat. And if you follow his Instagram page, so just having these tiny little personal connections. I've met the people that make this thing, and this is based on that, and he's done that because of this. And so that's really just really important. And people love those little stories. Or one of our things is goat's milk soap. We sell lots of little local products. I was like, yeah, the goats, I can hear them from our bedroom. They are 2 miles away.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I should at this point probably mention that one of the things I've been meaning to do is change the name of our group to Tunbridge Wells and Beyond, because Liz is actually from up north, but she's not. She's actually from down south originally. She's a Kentish lass. Yes, we were at school near Tunbridge Wells, weren't we? So not from Tunbridge Wells. She's from Tunbridge Wells, but not in Tunbridge Wells. So we've had a question about where's your shop, and it's where is it? It's in
So our shop is in Bingley in West Yorkshire. If you've heard of the Building Society, Bradford and Bingley, we're the Bingley bit, and yes, we've got a little shop there. And in lockdown, I was building the website. I'm just tweaking the last bits, so we will be available nationwide. I should say worldwide. I have shipped things to America before. So and the shop's called Gather. If you want to, someone said we have a website. So the website address is www.gather4party.com.
And can people email you or call you like I did and say, oh, I need this for my daughter's birthday? What can you send?
Well, most of our business, we've been going 2 years without a website. So loads of stuff just comes through Facebook and Instagram. So people just message me, and people say, I want a dog party in blue, and I'll send them pictures of things. So you get a really personalized shopper service.
It's just so interesting, because I think people can get so consumed by the idea of having a website, and it needs to be all singing or dancing before they even make their first sale. And it's like, I know you've got a shop, so it's sort of different in that respect, but there's so much now that can be done even just on Facebook, so talk to me about the challenges that you've had along the way to get to over the last few years.
There's all the challenges of running a business, which you probably all know, being a mum, running a business, running a household, earning the money, having thin months, and keeping through that. And the thing, if your daughter's been up sick all night, you're still in there every day doing it, dealing with orders into the night. So there's that kind of 24-hour lifestyle. But the biggest challenge was we opened the shop. So the original business plan was my husband would work in the shop, because he's all smiley and customer facing, and I would be out working on events, working with venues, doing big functions and weddings. We'd been open a week, and my husband had a stroke, lost all his right hand side, couldn't walk. We didn't see it coming. It totally knocked us. We were clearly then now have rent to pay, had nothing coming in. I had to just do everything, and that was
And how on earth did you get past that and through that, and you're still running a shop now? And
I don't know.
Amazing.
There must be like you'd think there'd be an answer, but I really don't know.
Well, I'd say, in terms of your personal strength of character, resilience, there's a lot to be said for that. And I think it's a kind of, I guess, a common theme in entrepreneurs, although I'd like to think people don't generally get to have to experience things as challenging and as awful as that.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
You have to. Lots of people said, how do you do it? You just have to.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an option. It wasn't like, oh well, yeah. There wasn't an option. I had signed a contract. I had to pay rent. I had to look after my daughter. I had to support my husband. I had some brilliant friends who were great and would, take my daughter for a bit so I could go for a run or go and climb or go and do some yoga or, amazing support. But you just, the biggest fear was that he wouldn't walk again. I think once he can now, and he started to get sensation back. So we've worked through that.
And are you going to get him to come into the shop and start working for you now he's on the mend?
Yeah, well, because a stroke's affected his brain function. Sadly, that's just not going to be possible because he can't deal with. He comes in and smiles and chats everybody up, but he can't sort of take orders, or I can't rely on information that he would transmit. So that wouldn't be good for business. Bless him. So he's on childcare duty.
Well, it's amazing. Well done, you, Liz. Hats off. So knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to the younger you?
Do it. Should have done it sooner. I don't regret ever leaving education, ever. I'd not, even in the hardest points, even I used to come in some days into the shop and just cry. Just never, still not regretted it because I love my customers. I love who I deal with. I love what I do. I like being in charge of me. I like being able to implement things. In education, you couldn't implement anything because it would take, it'd take a whole school year, and then you were dealing with archaic people who wanted to do how it's always been done this way. It's like, well, it doesn't have to be this. So now, if I want to do something, I do it.
Brilliant.
And if I want someone to do something, I pay them to do it and tell them what I want doing. And the freedom of that and the appreciation you get, bless teachers. Teachers are amazing because they are over the moon. Out of the 150, 200 kids they all teach, they might get 3 or 4 thank you cards a year, and that makes their day, makes their year. But I get more thanks doing parties for people than I ever did educating people. And people are so appreciative and grateful, and they just engage with you. I've made friends. I'd never thought setting this business up that I'd make a load of new friends and a whole new amazing range of people. Some are just regular customers and lovely and come in for a chat, and lots of people have just genuinely become wonderful friends. That's brilliant. That wasn't what I planned to happen.
So if you could turn back time and to have made that decision to move ahead and go for it sooner, what support do you think you would have needed, or what do you think would have needed to have happened for you to have made the decision sooner?
I don't know. It's almost like there's a dam, and the urge to do something different is just building up, and it just gets so much, it smashes the dam down. So it's kind of like I just had to wait for that to happen. It becomes, the urge inside becomes so overwhelming. And I think because I'd been in education for 18 years, education's quite a negative place to be. There's a lot of amazing teachers and really inspirational people, but as a general environment, it's an uphill struggle. It doesn't matter how well prepared, how well you know your subject, how good you are at classroom management. You are just is it Sisyphus that pushes the thing up the hill and it just keeps coming down again. It's just
one of the things I love about entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurs and like all the people in our sort of community, they're kind of like more, it just generally speaking, more positive and able to kind of see opportunities and create.
That's what's amazing with the whole lockdown. Suddenly, in all the different Facebooks I'm in, people are like, yeah, I can do this, right? And okay, I need to set this up. How am I going to make this happen? And I need to make this happen to keep functioning. And exactly. And if you mention something like that in a school, everyone was like, oh, well, what are we going to do about this? And, oh, well, we have to do the paper. And have you got the pro forma for that? And it's, oh, God, it's so frustrating. So, it just builds up. And the other great thing was I did the, what was it called? Oh, the Entrepreneurial Spark, NatWest Entrepreneurial Spark. Mm-hmm. And whilst I did they've got different levels of programs. I just started on their very base one. And it was just kind of general. So I have to say in itself that didn't help. But what they did provide, which was amazing, is this office space to go and work in. And just being there amongst all these other people doing stuff, that was the best bit, because you're just feeding off everyone's energy. So there's people there setting up record labels, setting up property portfolios, setting up, beauticians, setting up online, it's just all this stuff, and everyone would be heads down and working, and someone would be like, oh, right, brainstorm, I need a name for something, and then we'd all sort of natter and chuck names out, and then everyone would put heads down.
Cool. I wonder whether that's something. Sorry,
how do I shoot this, or what tech do I need for that? And they'd be like, oh, call so and so, or go downstairs and ask Brenda, or that. Being around that energy, I'd forgotten that human beings could be like that, and that surged me on. And now you find all that with these entrepreneurial online communities, but that's it's just lovely being around people,
like-minded people.
That. Yeah.
And I wonder whether on the other side of this situation, whether there'll be more like co-working spaces, or whether that'll all be kind of, what do you think about that, generally speaking?
I wonder. I don't know, because so many people are going to work from home now. I don't know. We're in quite a small little town, and there's lots of shops that aren't going to survive, and so it'd be good if they turned shop space into little office spaces, and people could do that. But it'd be a whole other rant for me to get onto. But they need to talk about commercial rents, commercial landlords. Greedy buggers, and they don't respond to the market, and this all rents only go up malarkey. Then they need to adjust their rent structures to allow all these, because they're beautiful buildings. That's the other thing, gets beautiful high streets that are just going to lie dormant if nobody. But that would be great, wouldn't it, just to go into town and go in and sit and do stuff. And
I think it could be an opportunity. And what do you think? And in terms of your business, and obviously it's a shop, you're doing well with that, and like with this sort of current situation, has that made you reassess the way you're moving forward with the business? And are you planning on doing more online?
The website definitely is my first priority, and then I want somebody to be able to come in and run the shop more. The shop is a movable feast. I have a landlord who leaves quite a lot to be desired as a human being. He's quite old school and wants his money and doesn't care very much about who's here.
I think there's probably lots of people that are experiencing that. Again, anyone watching, write in the comments experiences that you have of that, and what you would do to change.
They're brutal. They don't care. They don't have any
scruples.
Exactly. There's just sort of no moral fibre. I'm not expecting free rent, but look, through all this lockdown thing, and where I could earn no money, and people are like, oh, well, you got a grant from the government. Yeah, it went straight out on rent. So it's gone straight. We've barely lived off anything to give our money to some bloke who's got stacks of money already to have an empty shop. There's lots of things. Commercial, if anyone's thinking of going to commercial properties, be careful, because the protection you get as a private tenant in a private house is huge. You have all the rights if you're a private tenant. If you're a commercial tenant, you have no rights at all, and you are squashed at every opportunity. So yeah, be ready to strap them on and have a fierce conversation. And I tell you, the other thing that really angered me was I was dealing with all these men in the chartered surveyors, and they put, you know, as a little woman, and I have to say I was quite scared of it also. I allowed them to put me down. And I remember when I put the deposit down and I said, am I likely to be getting this back? And this guy, proper estate agent in a suit, wound me up, and he turned around and he went, if you're a good girl.
Oh, do you want to punch him in the face?
At that time, I was like, I'm a 38-year-old woman. You would never say that to a man. So that just made me livid. But I come up for rent renegotiation soon, and I've, they're different women they're facing now. I'm going to screw them down.
Good on you.
See what I get from them.
So do you think, what are your thoughts on like doing more kind of, you've got, what's your online presence?
Sorry, I just keep deviating. I'm really rubbish to interview.
No, you're not. You're good. It's interesting. I like it. You're full of passion.
So the shop's going to continue, and depending on rent discussions, whether we have a physical shop or we move totally online, is kind of in the air at the moment. But I love Gather, and Gather's going to continue. I have also I've continued my teaching, so I do private tutoring. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing it just face to face, but I'm looking at taking that online and setting up an online tutoring platform, which I think actually couldn't have come at a better time. And now I've learned so much more about the tech and how that would be possible, that this, online tutoring is a really viable option. And I think the best way to teach, how brilliant you get. The kids are there who want to be engaged. You're not dealing with class discipline. You're not dealing with school politics. You get to teach the subject that you love and know. And so, online tutoring, that's going to be the next string to my bow. 7 streams of income you need to become a millionaire. I'm on it. That's 2 of them.
Somebody's asked, what do you teach? Well, I suppose what did you teach, but what you're because you're sort of the way you're teaching now when you're with your online business is different, isn't it?
So for school I teach English. So I do English GCSE, English A level, and I can also do media studies A level. So that's what I teach. Oh, and another thing, this is what happens when you're an entrepreneur, and another thing, you do another thing. There's another lovely local businesswoman, and her and I have become really good friends, and we're talking about setting up some local classes to teach other people how to exploit Facebook, Instagram and Canva, and really sort of create their online presence.
Very cool.
But that we particularly want it to be a face, because there's loads of online coaches and we don't want to be sort of coaches, but we want to be able to do things face to face, have a workshop, have people come in with their laptops so we can talk them through everything and they can actually learn all those things. So
great. Yeah. So what I'll just ask any questions. Have we got any questions?
Yeah, gosh, there's an angry face. Why was somebody angry?
That was Anwin. Why were you angry, Anwin? I'm just having a look now to see it. No, knowing Anwin, I doubt it.
My landlord.
Yeah, probably something to do with your landlord.
Look, so help, analytic coaching, teaching advice on Zoom. Yeah, Zoom's brilliant. I use Zoom a lot.
And are you sort of, what's your kind of, because of the horrible estate agent, she said. And Adriana, because she was doing like drink and draw events, but she was now doing them on Zoom.
Oh,
so, very cool.
How good my drawing would be if I was drinking as well.
You have to give it a go.
I wouldn't stay within the lines.
Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for watching and for your questions. And Liz, thank you so much for being a willing participant and your amazing story. And I just think you've done incredibly well. And it's very cool.
I'm aware I've got like a horse's bottom. I'm just going to, if I turn my camera, there you can actually see the back of the horse now. It just looked like I had a horse bottom.
Can you show us are you in the shop at the moment?
Yeah, I am in the shop.
Do you want to give us a tour?
So I'm just going to show you around the shop.
Yeah, great, love it. Have you got anyone in?
Or backstage. Oh,
Very nice. Very nice. We need one in Tunbridge Wells. Have we got one that's similar? Got a customer.
There's a nice shop down in Brighton, Peach Blossom. She does similar sorts of things, and has very similar values. So, yes.
Excellent. Well, I shall love you and leave you. So thank you so much again, everyone, for watching, and thank you again, Liz. And just remind us, we did have a question about Instagram. Have you got an Instagram?
Instagram handle is @gather4a-party.
Did I? And your did that come
I don't know. Yeah, it's come
weird,
up.
Isn't it?
@gather4a-party is Instagram and Facebook, and the website. When the website's live, I'll put it in the entrepreneur group as well, so you guys can start.
Oh yeah, brilliant. That's great. Yeah, thanks. So just pop in those in the comments.
Yeah,
and then I teach and advise on Zoom. It used to be Kent Adult Education very successfully. Excellent, lovely. All right, well, thanks again, and I will say bye-bye, and see you soon. All right,
catch up soon.
Bye.
Bye.